and welcome back to another Barn Automotive YouTube video. And in this episode, we are going to be lowering this Ferrari Roma. Now, we aren't going to be wasting any of the customers' money on lowering springs because the Ferraris are delivered on adjustable coilovers. So all we need to do is adjust them to make it sit lower. And we'll be lowering this one by about 30 mil because the Romas are delivered sitting very high from factory. So we will lower it a little bit, put spacers on it to get the fitment perfect, and then deliver it back to one very happy customer. So let's get to it. First thing we need to do is remove the wheel, obviously. Once we have the wheel off, I can access the coilovers. With these, it's easier to remove the coilover to adjust it because it's an aluminium seat that it sits on with two aluminium rings. They're not anodized or coated, so they can be very stiff to get undone. So we will clean them off, clean all the thread off to make sure they don't get jammed whilst undoing them, and then adjust them off the car basically. Put them back on, and then we're done. It's about 4 hours work altogether. If you could adjust them on the car, it would be quicker, but if one gets stuck, you have a bigger issue. So it's better to remove them all. I will show you how the suspension is positioned in the Ferrari. So here you have it's a monostrut system, so damper spring. You can see here is the adjustable thread, and then you sit on the ring there. So you have two bolts at the top, a sensor connector, and a bolt at the bottom, and that is how you get it out. And then we will take the pressure off the spring when adjusting it with a spring compressor, and yeah, we should be able to lower it by 30 millimeters. 3 bolts on the dampering, 2 at the top, 1 at the bottom. The one at the bottom has a little collar on it to keep it in the right place. And now that is a loose damper. I just need to disconnect the sensor at the top, and then I can lift that whole thing out. And there you go. That is a rear Ferrari damper, and you can see it better now. This is your adjustable section, and you can see all the dirt and shit in there. That's really what you need to clean off to make sure when you're undoing it, it doesn't get jammed. And yeah, most of the time, these two are kind of seized together. So it takes a little while to get them apart. But once that's done, we seat it 30 mil lower on this ring, and then we will be at the perfect fitment. So with the spring on the bench in the spring press, I then need swan neck spanner and a 9mm, and then I can get the nut undone to get the spring off so that it's easier to adjust the coilover. And believe me, I've tried it with the spring on before. These ones are always seized together from Ferrari, and you can very easily end up fucking the key points up so that you can't get your where is it? Your coilover key to sit properly on it. So this is always the best way to do it. And on some setups, you'll just be able to do it on the car. Unfortunately, with the stock Ferrari ones, it's not possible. And I know there will be some people saying, yeah, you're going to bottom out the damper if you lower it too much. That's true. That is true. But with all those lowering springs, I have installed nearly every brand of them. And I'm telling you, you have to adjust it on the coilover as well. It's pretty much just a different spring. It's not actually much smaller. You always end up adjusting the coilover rings to get it to sit lower at the height you want it to sit at. So I'm telling you, this is the way you do it without wasting any money. And then I can slide the spring out, the other bits. And then, look, you can see all the like aluminium corrosion there, the white stuff. That is what seizes them together basically. So we need to hold this one in the vise, doing it with 2 keys, you're never gonna get it off. Hold this one in the vise, get your key on this one, and just lightly knock it free. You have to shock it free to get it off. And now with it in the vise and some knocking, the adjustment ring is now free. The only other thing that is stuck in place, this on the thread is stuck in place. I can get that loose, that's not an issue. You'll see I can't twist the whole thing inside it, but I can loosen that one up as well. So then we just measure on the thread with the vernier gauge where we want it to sit. We are coming to there, and then I will just mark that with a pen. The white corrosion that you have on the top, I don't know if you can really see it, maybe a little bit. You can see it's in the threads there. That's what hitting it is for, to try and shock that loose. If you're just doing it with the pressure of the 2 keys, you're never going to get it off. You'll be there all day. That is one damper completely adjusted up. Now that ring that I said was stuck was really stuck. I had to leave that overnight in some corrosion, like enamel oil that just eats away at the corrosion. It eventually came loose this morning, still with a lot of work. I basically just had to tap around the edge as well. I applied some very light heat to the edge of the ring. You have to be super careful if you go anywhere near these with heat, because they are a gas strut and you will pretty much fuck them if you do heat them too much. So just on the very outside of the ring to kind of make it stretch a little, and then knock around it, lightly knocking, and you're basically just cracking the white powdery stuff that I showed before. You're trying to loosen that up so that then you can twist it, and then once it is kind of loose, you have to work it back and forwards a lot, or else you're going to chew into the thread and seize it in place even further. So that is one completely done. I will show you one of the fronts and how you get that out of the car. That is slightly different. And then after that, I will just crack on and get the other 2 done, and then I can show you how it sits on the car when it's lowered and with spacers. So for the front setup, very similar to the rear, 2 bolts at the top, 1 at the bottom down here, and then the damper is loose. Only difference on the front is the arch liner needs to come out to access the 2 bolts at the top, and the upper control arm needs undoing here and here, so there's 4 bolts to that, and then you can lift that up and rotate it around to be able to lift this out. There's no way of jimmying it out without that. I have tried previously on other cars, so yeah, that is the quickest way just to do it. Pretty simple. Again, 2 rings on it here. This front looks not too bad. I did clean it up last night, so hopefully it's easier than the rear, but we will see once it's out. And that is your front damper out. You can see this one's doesn't have the white on it at the moment. It looks like it was greased. So maybe we're lucky. Let's see. So 2 done. The front one was a lot easier than the rear one. It was still stuck, but it came off with a lot less work. So I will get the other 2 done, and then time to look at the final result. Now that the dampers are back on the car, Final thing to do is to fit the wheels back on, then we can lower it down. There's extra detail at the customer's request. I sprayed the wheels gloss black to fit in with the styling of the car more. Now that everything's white and with the carbon, the gloss black matches better than the original gunmetal grey that they're delivered in from Ferrari. Unless you have the titanium bolts, Ferraris are normally always delivered with chrome bolts. So we have also swapped these out for black bolts. With the car now lowered down and off the ramp, I will pull it outside and then you can get a better look at how it sits. It is a lot better. Before, that was a fist that you could fit in the back here. Now it's 2 fingers. It sits perfect. This is probably my favorite Roma. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the Ferrari Roma. I don't really like its appearance, how it sits, anything. But this one, with the color, all the details, even the shields on the fenders, I didn't think that was going to be a good idea, but I love it. And now with the lowering spacers and wheels, it looks perfect and it is definitely the best one I've seen. And I'm not just saying that because I did it. Now, it's not only the Ferrari Roma that you lower this way. If you have a 458, a 488, an F8, an 812, an SF90, it really doesn't matter what Ferrari you have. They are all essentially the same suspension, same process to remove it, same process to lower it. So, I hope you have learned something in this video, that you're not going to go and waste your money on a set of lowering springs if you're only looking to lower it 20, 30 mil. Maybe you have a Ferrari and you want it lowering. If so, get in contact. But if not, and you just enjoyed following along, then that is also great. And that is it for now. And I will see you in the next Barn Automotive YouTube video.